Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for One Piece anime episode 811. This episode almost made me wish that I was an anime only watcher, just because I think seeing this for the first time in the anime would be incredible, because it's not often with One Piece where I'm like, okay, the anime adapted that so well that I would have rather seen it for the first time in the anime than in the manga because of that extra ability to see the voice acting, the people moving, the OST and all, and this was that good. Just like last episode was really good, and I think this was even better. And I gave last episode an incredible review for One Piece, and this was even better. I don't know what the anime has done lately, but it's really, really good, and it's sort of shown to me and proven to me that I had vastly underestimated this arc. I was saying all throughout the manga, I'm like, okay, Whole Cake Island isn't that good an arc, but when I look at the anime right now and what's going on, I'm like, oh, that's really good. There are so many layers that I didn't really care that much about in the anime, but there's so many layers in the manga, but there's so many layers to the story that I didn't really notice the first time through. And then to think, I'm like, oh, I'm excited for when this happens. And I'm excited for when this happens a little further. And even further than that, and even further than that. There's so many things I'm excited for that it's like, I don't even know. Like, there's so many scenes, so many fights, just in general, so many parts of the story that I'm excited for in the future. And I vastly underestimated how much good stuff was in this arc. I guess we moved past the slow opening stuff leading up through the Cracker fight, and now that we've gotten through the Cracker fight, which was good and signaling the end of that sort of slow opening stuff, we have a lot of good stuff we're about to get into, and I'm just so excited. I'm really excited for the show right now. So and it definitely doesn't hurt that in addition to that story quality being good, the anime, for the past few episodes, there were way too many flashbacks in the Sanji versus Luffy special. That is the problem. Without killing us with way too many flashbacks, those two episodes would have been great. But ever since then, the episodes have been so solid. Ever since they got rid of that stupid waste of time thing in the beginning, it feels like they're taking the show more seriously when they make it. And the show as a whole, it's felt more serious. It's felt way, way better. So now that I've said what this episode made me think of the show as a whole, let's actually move forward a little bit into discussion from the actual episode. So starting at the beginning, the opening is still so good. Like, this opening, not only do I not see it really wearing on me like the last two or three over time, this one has improved over time in my eyes. Like, over time I watch it and I like it even more than I did originally. So this episode, the basic premise, what we had going on was a fight against the odds. We're seeing a Yonkou's crew for the first time. We've been waiting forever to see, okay, we saw what a normal pirate's crew members are like, what a Shichibukai's were like, with Doflamingos especially being really huge and strong and all. But now we're seeing what the crew members are like for a Yonkou, and that's just a really cool part in the story that, again, I thought it was cool, but I didn't really appreciate it as much, I think, in the manga. And now we have it here in the anime, and it's in a way that I can appreciate it so much more. But we have Luffy and Nami fighting that army, as well as Carrot and Chopper fighting against Brûlé and all of her forces, and they're just overwhelmed. It's a Yonkou crew, and there are so many characters that they're up against that have really cool designs, interesting personalities, and cool devil fruits, and any of them would be cool for one-on-one fights, but we're seeing this hopeless battle against the odds, and seeing the Straw Hats deliver at a loss. It is just so good. So at the beginning, Luffy's fighting that army. We had the long-necked twins he's fighting with. I forget their name, like Marscapone's one. I don't remember the other one's name, though. Nami's using Big Mom Storm to fight at range. Again, it's so cool seeing Nami be important and seeing her not really stand on the same level as Luffy per se, but just stand like... We had arcs where all the Straw Hats were presented as really strong and all didn't dominate, but they all persevered and made it through their individual fights, and we haven't had that in a long time. Not in a real significant way. Probably not even since close to NES Lobby. It's been a long time since we had a really good arc for all of the Straw Hats like that. But it's good seeing Nami step up and be presented as strong again instead of just being presented as the weak girl who needs to be saved. It's really good to see Nami doing cool stuff. So she's fighting at a range, but she's stopped by Galette's Devil Fruit. Amand then we find out has a legendary sword named Shirao. Yeah, I think it was Shirao was the name. So we know now where another of the legendary swords is. Amand has it. And she slowly cuts King Bomb in half. And that was a really good scene where he's like, why? If you're going to kill me, just kill me quickly. And she's like, no, there's no point in killing anyone quickly. So she slowly cleaves through him as he's crying and begging for her to just finish him. It was just really, really good. And then after seeing Nami and King Bomb, when we get back to Luffy, he's being burned by Opera again. Opera's cream monster thing that he keeps using again and again. Then we cut away from all of them and see they're kind of struggling after fighting the good fight for a bit. And it was really cool seeing them take out a bunch of the soldiers. So Chopper and Garrett are trying to fight in the mirror world, but they're slowed by those things on their ankles and vastly outnumbered by Randolph, Brule, the Croc, Diesel, all of these other members of Big Mom's crew. Then they get captured by mirror copies that Brule makes of them out of animals, again, because of the noises they make. So I guess that means she can control the mirror copies since they all purposefully go and capture them. So Luffy then, back to them, gets sucked into Montdoor's book world, which this scene was done really, really well as well. But basically, I love that it was hallucinations, kind of, and it was set up sort of like it was two separate worlds and Luffy was feeling the pain of both, because we would see Luffy getting hit in the real world and then him in the mirror world the book world getting thrown around from the hits that he's taking in the real world. And then in the book world, keep wanting to say mirror world, then in the book world, as he would get burnt or attacked in there, we would see him in real life, even though nothing was hitting him, getting hurt and in pain from the attacks that were happening in the book world. So I love how it was set up like Luffy was dealing with two different worlds and feeling the pain of both of them. And of course, because of that, because his actual body was one place and his senses were in another, kind of, it sort of was just so cool. He couldn't fight back either way. So then from that, yeah, it's pretty much like Genjutsu from Naruto. I put that in my notes. Then we have Luffy finally knocked unconscious, and it's a loss for the Straw Hats. Going from there, we see the chateau, and Sanji is there, and Sanji, again, another great scene. On top of all of that that we already saw, we get a really good scene with Sanji makes a deal with Big Mom, making a deal with the devil. He says that he will willingly marry Pudding in exchange for her allowing his allies to leave. And I love that because she's like being really nice, and then she leans in and she's like, I'll have you understand that normally the things that your allies have done are unforgivable under normal circumstances, but I'll turn a blind eye for you because I'm ready for this wedding. So I love that, like how she agrees to it, but there's also that sinister stuff behind it, like more pushing Sanji into what's happening. Like normally this is something that can't be forgiven, but I'll turn a blind eye for you. Then we have the post-battle destruction scene, which was incredible because you just hear all the rain falling. Nami is captured. Luffy is unconscious on the ground for a bit. King Bomb is, we see his crying face as he's split in half. Like, there was some really good stuff going on with the way that they organized this entire episode. Same with last week, where they organized the episode really, really well. We find out that the chess soldiers were actually weakened because of Nami's Viver card, because the whole time the crew was wondering why the chess soldiers were so weak. but Luffy and Nami fought back so hard and still lost, and on top of that, the chest soldiers weren't even fighting at their full strength. So from there, we have they think that Nami attacked or robbed Lola, and that's how she got the card, and they don't believe that she was actually Lola's friend. And then when they try to drag them off, I love how Luffy is awake just enough to be clinging onto the grass, saying, "No, I'm not leaving until Sanji comes back." And then they beat him more until he goes unconscious and they can drag him away. So yeah, it was just so freaking good. And then at the very end, we have our promo for next week, and it seems next week we're going to be having the stuff with Brook, Pedro, and the Road Poneglyph, and it's just, man, this episode was so good, and there's so much to look forward to. That stuff, whenever we get to see Carrot and Chopper again, whenever we get to see Luffy and Nami again, there's just so much cool stuff happening. We still don't know what's going on with Caesar or with and speaking in an anime only sense, we don't know what's going on with Caesar right now. We don't know what's going on with Jinbei right now. There's so much to look forward to. So yeah, I put, again, in my notes here at the end for the episode as a whole, I didn't appreciate how layered and good this arc is in the manga until seeing this, and now I just have a whole new appreciation for how good it is, and this could be one of my favorite arcs, I think. Not my favorite overall, but, you know, maybe it could turn into that depending on how well the anime makes it, because so far, just from these past 2 episodes, it's opened my eyes a lot to how good it can be. So I thought it was so cool. I think it was incredible to finally see a Yonkou's crew. I mean, look at all the different powers and characters we had with Mont d'Or, with Galette, with Amand, with Opera, with those long neck twins, Brûlé and Diesel and the Croc and Randolph. We see all these different cool, unique designs with potential different backstories, all these different devil fruit powers they have. So it's really cool seeing a Yonkou's crew here. And they're not even the commanders. Yeah, that's an incredibly cool crew without even getting into the commanders, because Cracker was amazing, and Cracker was obviously way stronger than Luffy, and Luffy just won by having Nami there to help him, because without Nami you wouldn't have been able to do anything against the Crackers at all. And even with Gear 4, he couldn't do anything to the Crackers until Nami softened them. And without eating them, he wouldn't have had the ability to deal with Cracker in a fight of stamina. So it's one of those things where you see a commander was completely more overwhelmingly strong than Luffy, but Luffy was able to pull off the win because of help and good strategy. So you think, these normal crew members, how strong are they? How strong are the other commanders? Just so good. I thought the voice acting in the animation was great. Luffy's voice acting there at the end when he's clinging onto the grass was just so good. I love seeing a setback for the Straw Hats, because you can't go after a Yonkou without suffering a bit of a loss. So I like that they suffered this loss that they're going to have to find a way to get over, and to find a way to deal with the Big Mom Pirates, because in just a straight up fight, we have been shown here, in a straight up fight, they cannot take them whatsoever. So yeah, also we got Sanji making the deal, which was good, and what's cool about this is that Sanji made the deal with Big Mom, and the Straw Hats don't know that he's made that deal yet. They've been captured, but they don't know about the deal. The children of Big Mom, the crew members who captured them, don't know about the deal yet. And importantly, Brook and Pedro are going to be next week. They don't know. They're still going after the Poneglyph. They don't know that Luffy and the rest have been defeated. They don't know that Sanji has made that deal with Big Mom. There's just so much going on that's great. So I'm not going to give it quite a perfect score. I'm going to save that for something super emotional, whenever something like really incredibly emotional happens. But I'm definitely giving it close. 9.5, I don't know, 9.5 slow ballads out of 10, because it was just great. I have no complaints at all. I thought it was an amazing episode. I think the past 2 episodes, One Piece has just been on such a roll that it's great. And again, I hated that thing at the beginning where it went through all the characters' names and it was really stupid and pointless. And without that, I'm not going to say that's what made this great. No, tons of things did. The layered storytelling, the way it was set up, the way it looked like real effort went into it, the good animation and voice acting. So much went into making this really good. The good sound effects. We haven't had a ton of still frames. It's been a lot of actual animation in the fighting. But in addition to all of that being good, I think it helps a ton that that thing isn't at the beginning and that the recap isn't super long lately, because, and even when it is kind of longish, it's been good recap. I think that that's important because it makes the show feel more serious. When you see something stupid like that at the beginning, it kind of, from the very beginning of the show, takes you out of the episode a little bit because you're like, that's dumb and pointless. But to get rid of that, I think helped a lot, actually. And it also helps a lot that the opening is really good, because I'm really a sucker for good anime openings, but also it's one of those things where if you see something good at the beginning, it does sort of set you in that mood where you're expecting it to be better, and you're more open to it, I think. So I think in general, the show has improved a lot. Just in the past, say 20 episodes. 20 episodes ago compared to where it is now, I would say it's improved a lot. Because Zoe was really good and animated really well, and then the animation went down for that, for the filler arc, which isn't the worst thing ever, and of course it goes down for that. And the animation stayed down for a bit of the beginning of this arc, and it's not just the animation, again, the storytelling has to do with it, but I just think that if One Piece carries on like it is now, it's going to be good. It might be the first arc post-time skip that I say is back to that pre-time skip quality. Because Zoe was great, I absolutely loved the arc, but I don't know if anything post-time skip has really been pre-time skip quality yet. If anything, I would say the closest arc to that is Punk Hazard. But this could be the first arc to be definitely as good as pre-time skip, if not better. So yeah, that would be it. Either way, if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this episode, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more One Piece, both anime and manga, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. And if you want a link to our Discord server, just ask and I'll give you one. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.